it's Ian the Off Kilter Crafter.
And I'm Sew Becca.
And I'm Alicia, aka Tulisha.
Tulisha!
Tulisha!
And spoiler alert, Alicia or Tulisha, we actually have two spoiler alerts. We'll give them both away.
Yeah.
The first one is Alicia likes to refer to herself as the CEO of the Sew Becca Museum.
I am.
Because she has so many quilts that I've made for her.
Mm-hmm.
She just, every time she gets another one, she's like, I'm going to put this in the museum. Yesterday, she was out with her husband and she sent me a picture of a quilt rack.
Yeah.
And she goes, for the museum. But also the second spoiler alert is her name on the screen. Do you see what that says?
I do. And I had no idea because people were bringing this up not only in your live, but also my live.
Uh-huh.
And I'm like, who is that? I didn't hear the thing.
That is her alter ego.
Yeah.
It is the one that gives away my tulip pink fabric.
It's the one that should not show up that often.
No.
The one that was sent home. I was sent home on a plane the weekend after I got a little too greedy with the fabric.
I was like, okay.
I've since learned that tulip pink is not for giving away.
No.
But it's for admiring on the shelf to not be used.
Hey,
That's
that's
not true.
That is not true.
Okay.
Most recently.
Oh, but wait, there's more.
But
wait, there's more.
Way more.
Well, before we get into all of that, why don't we talk about the quilts that we have?
Sounds good.
We'll see which one Alicia picked from the museum to wear tonight.
All right, sounds good.
Okay.
Go ahead, Ian.
All right, so I've got the Wild West. This is a puzzle mystery quilt. I don't even remember which season anymore. I've done so many that I've forgotten which one this was. It was one of the more recent ones, but this is the Wild West in colorway Calamity, and you may notice that I haven't quite finished it. I've got to bind it.
Hey, it's usable.
It is usable. It is surged on the edge, so it just needs the binding.
Yeah. I too have a puzzle mystery quilt.
You do.
This one is I don't know.
Cosmos.
Oh, sounds great.
Cosmos.
Didn't know that.
Yep.
But I do like the colorway.
Mm-hmm.
My daughter actually picked this colorway and I made it for her. It has Minky on the back.
Oh.
It was quilted by my friend Teresa Louise from Teresa Louise I Quilt 2. And Zoe has now decided that she has outgrown it and doesn't want it on her bed anymore. So.
Fair enough.
I have a quilt.
I know that design because that has been one of my favorite designs that they put out, and I have the small colorway, and I've always wanted to make the big colorway, the large colorway, and I need to recreate it. I need to sit there and do the math and recreate it.
Well, listen, I know which one was my favorite layout, and spoiler alert, I think it's on Alicia's lap. Alicia, what quilt do you have?
Okay, hold on. Are you ready?
Yes.
Oh, we're ready.
Oh, we're so ready.
Okay. It's not a lot, but my favorite. Oh, no. This. Okay. I'm just playing. But this, for a limited time, is on showcase at the Sew Becca Museum and Fine Crafts. Oh,
I think. Yep. There
you go.
There we go.
Gobble gobble, faceless.
Gobble
Minky.
gobble. But wait, there's more.
Is this a 2-for-1 deal?
I guess so.
No. No.
Sparkle and shine.
Oh.
That was my very first puzzle mystery quilt. That's what got me into it. I didn't even know what a 1/4-inch seam was or how to get it when I did that. I loved that one. I still love that one, and the colors are gorgeous.
I don't think that's Sparkle and Shine, though.
I think it is. I don't know what it is. No, it's not. No, it's not. It was the first one I ever did.
Yeah.
And I like it because, and we'll put pictures on the screen, but I like the center element.
Yeah.
It's got two things kind of pointing towards it.
Yeah, no, that's not Sparkle and Shine.
Yeah, anyway, Alicia saw it. She was like, those are my colors.
I love the colors.
And so it immediately went to her. And that one was also quilted by Teresa Louise. Both of them were custom quilted by Teresa.
Very nice.
Yeah.
I was just going to say that.
Well, Alicia, it's so good to have you on. We are finally revealing the person that has been behind the camera for a long time. She every time she comes to visit, she never jumps in front of the camera with you.
Mm-mm.
She's always behind it.
Yeah.
She's in chat. She's hanging out. She's doing the things, but this is the first time that we are unveiling her to the public, and we're so excited that you're here. And it's even more exciting because you're a new quilter.
I'm a new quilter.
Well, tell us more.
World famous tea towel, limited edition. We've made 2 of them. One, Mary was a very strong force in. The other one I did solo-ish. Take it loosely. And it was interesting. I had to put myself in a timeout because, it sounds easy, like when you're feeding fabric through, but when you're in a room full of people who honestly know how to quilt and you're like just trying to get a straight line down, like that was intimidating. So after my timeout, Becky remembered I was very juvenile in the quilting space. So then she gave me, what was it, some little guider. It's like when you go bowling and they put the rails up. Yeah. And it went a lot better after that. But the first time, we'll just say it wasn't great. It was not, it wasn't really that straight. It wasn't that great. I learned about double stitching. I think it was like go forward, come back, go forward.
Back stitching.
Yeah.
Yeah, that. I learned about that. And my mother-in-law loved them. She absolutely adores them. I did not tell her how much Mary helped.
She doesn't need to know.
Right. So when I tell you it's a limited edition, like 2 set, limited edition. World famous though. Definitely world famous. I was going to enter them into the next quilt show, but I really didn't want to steal everyone else's sparkle with how well I stitched that together with Mary's guidance.
With Mary's guidance.
I love it. I love it.
So I don't know how much you've sewn since you've gone home. Yeah. I think
so. Well, what do you mean sew? Like, let's define sew.
Have you turned on the sewing machine? Let's start there.
Yeah. So don't ask me to define it.
Yes, I have. I sure have.
Okay.
So,
all right. Cool.
I think Alicia is new in this, and a lot of the element of her actually doing the craft is probably reserved for when she visits.
Yeah. I think so.
That's offensive. I have been quilting up a storm, Becca. I literally had to step away from my ever sewn Sparrow 20 to take this little podcast. So, I'm super busy. I've been bobbing and needling and sewing so much. Oh my, I'm exhausted. Thank you.
You're welcome. So I want to talk a little bit. I don't really know where this conversation is going other than humor.
Yeah, pretty much.
This is just the comedy hour. But we can get a little bit of a glimpse out of this. So one of the things that Alicia has been really talking with me about is just when we're creating videos, how tailoring them towards complete newbies and not cutting out the mistakes and showing all the details and going slow is, in her opinion, super helpful.
Yeah.
I'm a messy girl. I like to see the mess. I think the biggest thing and what we've talked about really was it's very intimidating. I was talking about even quilting there. And it's not because I don't understand, but I feel like in anything, whether it's sewing, cooking, whatever, you get so comfortable where if I were to tell you guys to make something, I would say just, I don't know, just a pinch. And you're like, what the heck is a pinch? Just the same with a stand. I think Becky was or Becca.
No, you can say Becky. It's fine.
Okay.
She's family. She calls me Becky. There you go. Keep going.
So I think a lot of it was, you guys just all know like these little hidden things that would make me, or like a new quilter, someone like that's never turned on a sewing machine feels more comfortable because like I think it was that you guys called it like a standard seam or a standard stitch. It's something about the quarter. And I had no idea what that was. And it was just being thrown around like, I don't know what that is. But then Mary explained and I was like, a quarter? Well, what's that? Like, I know like Washington is on a quarter. Like, I know a quarter cup. I know a quarter of a lot of things, but I don't know what that is. But knowing that there was a tool, even just a tool that I could get that would help me like understand that made it 10 times easier because Mary and I, for example, when we were sewing the first one, I wanted her to do like the quarter stitch. I don't know if I'm even saying that
quarter
right.
Inch.
But
Quarter inch.
And when she showed me what a small like area that was, I was like, oh no, I know me. Like if there's one thing about me, even when I drive a car, I'm going to hit that curb. Like I know that seam, whatever I'm about to sew, if I can't take a car and not like play around on the curb, like I get the tire protection for a reason. Like we're like this. So when it came to like sewing, I was so worried about messing it up. And like, it's almost like you do really well when you don't think about it. But my problem is I'm feeding it halfway through and then I'm like, I'm doing it. Oh no, what if I mess up? And right as I'm starting to think that, and I'm like, oh no. So I think, just being able to see other people make mistakes. I think the first time I ever did any sewing at all, I was shocked that you could tear the thread right out and do it again. I'm like, what? It's not permanent? Like you can do that? Oh yeah. So I don't know. I think just those little things to encourage, like, it's going to happen. Like, this is absolutely normal. You're going to mess up. You need a seam ripper because it happens. Like, be prepared for the thread that comes with it. But I don't know. I think those things would really help encourage because the hardest part is just starting, honestly.
Yeah.
Speaking of starting, what got you started? Like, what made you want to even approach the sewing machine?
Well, I kept on flirting with the idea, and I feel like there's something to be said about in this family in her 40s. But like I've always thought about it. So I've had my sewing machine for a really long time, and oh wow, that was a heavy nod. Just a simple. Like Becky's like, oh my god, like wow, like Ruby and Eversone are like practically sisters. That's how long I've had mine. They were both created the same year. No, but I think I love being like creative and like customizing things. And even when I got the sewing machine, I don't think I ever really understood. I just knew you could get cool fabric and do whatever you wanted. And I love cool fabric and I love doing whatever I want. So those went hand in hand. But I tried making, and if you guys are really nice, I'll show you because I think I still have it. I tried making this little quilt for my dog for Valentine's Day.
Oh.
Shocker. Not done. But like, it just got me like kind of sewing, but then I made it so complicated because my bobbin ran out, and when your bobbin runs out, that really stresses me out. Because you have to wind it. But this time around, I think it was really different because I live a very different lifestyle. So I'm very like, I have more time to like really like look at it and see it. And honestly, the shop hop really did it for me. Walking around every single quilt store, like I literally have no business buying fabric, but I literally just kept on buying it. And then I was like, oh, I kept on asking Becky, I was like, do you think I could do this? Oh, and her initial response every time, oh yeah, that's easy. Okay. Fun fact, not easy for a beginner because when you really don't know anything, I almost wish someone just had basics. Like, hey, this is what we're talking about. Or, hey, if you don't know how to do a straight line, don't do it this way, feed it this way. Because I was like all hands on deck on that sewing machine. Like I was practically sliding under the needle with it. Like, I'm like, So, like, one day we were FaceTiming after the shop hop, and I was like, no, look, let me show you. And she's like, okay, you don't have to do all that. It's going to guide it. And I was like, what? It guides it? I don't have to go underneath the little foot also? Like, I was underneath there. Like, we were like this. But, like, just little things like that. And being able to buy so much fabric, the spooky fabric, and that really did me in. Like, again, no business buying fabric, but I learned that that's normal. Yes. Apparently, every quilter don't need fabric. Guess what? You buy the fabric. I've learned that. Like, I could do a whole hour of things that I learned about quilters just from the shop hops. Like, that was, but the community too. Like, I was like, oh, I want to do this. Like, I want to be a cool kid. I want to quilt. So a little of all of those.
Definitely.
I think one of the other things that's interesting as I'm hearing her go through stuff, I know, and my audience will vouch for this. I know I can teach. I can boil things down so quilters, brand new quilters who have never touched that sewing machine before will know what they're doing. But there's something about blood. There is something about blood. And it's not because I can't teach, but it's because it's something else. So you'll pick up when she was talking about how she was here, Mary helped her. She learned better from Mary, not because I can't, but because I think Mary was just like a third party removed, right? And I've had the same thing with my other sister too. I can show her, but she learns better from somebody else. So like you jumping in or Mary jumping in, it got them a little bit further.
Yeah, I think it's a lot of times like kids don't do well with their parents when they have homework. Like the parents are like not a good person to really work with them because it's something I remember as a kid, like my dad trying to help me with homework and I didn't want to listen to him because I was like, he's my dad. Yeah. Like, why do I have to listen to him for this? Like, I don't know. It's just something about blood. And I think you're right. It's something about it.
But it took me a minute when she started with blood. Like, I didn't know where we were going with it, but now it makes sense. It makes sense now. Yeah. She's blood like, there's something about blood. And I'm like, I don't know where this is going. Okay, but yes. I think, like, Mary was just so amazing at, like, understanding. And it's not to say Becky wasn't, but, like, Mary could almost sense that, like, I was just, like, you know, like, hey, I don't know what I'm doing here. And I feel like Becky almost knows that, like, I'll figure it out. And so she doesn't need to have, like, keep the training wheels. Like, I will figure it out. If there's one thing, I may jam your machine. I may, like, Ruby and I may not ever talk again after I use her, but, like, I'm gonna figure it out. And I feel like Mary would, like, maybe she didn't realize that about me. And so there was, like, this, okay, well, I'm gonna walk you through it. And it made it easier because me figuring it out would have probably led me to not coming home and using my ever sewn Sparrow 20 every single day.
I like how she just keeps name dropping. That's cool.
Keep throwing it in there. Throw it in there.
Hashtag not sponsored.
I'm not sponsored, just so you know, not sponsored by Ever Sewn Sparrow 20. Brother Ever Sewn Sparrow 20.
I think it's interesting. It's interesting because as an instructional designer for my 9 to 5, there's a lot of times that I'm dealing with processes or procedures or something that people have been doing for 20 years. They are experts. They know exactly what they're doing. They know how to get from point A to point B with their eyes closed and one hand tied behind their back. As someone who is like, I come into the situation and I then have to relay that information to a brand new person. I have to figure out, okay, wait a minute, we're missing some steps here. Why are we missing these steps? And I have to go to that person and be like, hey, I think we might be missing some things. And they're like, oh yeah, because that's tribal knowledge, or that's, you know, information that they are very familiar with and know how to get to from point A to point B.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
I think that's pretty typical everywhere you go. It's the tribal knowledge. But also there's something to be said about those people because once you learn like what you're doing, like the really basic stuff, and you get yourself like into more advanced or intermediate, those are the same people then you want to go to because they really get it and they understand it. And I just feel like they're beneficial, but like trying to teach like basic beginner step one, like their brain's already like 20 steps ahead.
Oh yeah.
Like they're doing like some big, like what is it in the long arm? What do you have, a long arm? The big giant machine?
That's
yeah. Like you're on the long arm and I'm literally on the little Tykes 5,000 sewing machine for like toddlers.
I think that kind of explains like how you got into it and got going and everything. You picked up a lot of fat quarters and a lot of other fabric while on the shop hop.
She did. And Alicia likes to interject humor wherever she goes.
Yes.
So she doesn't call them fat quarters. What do you call them?
Fatties.
Okay.
I picked up a few little fatties while I was out. A little, like I got a couple yards also, not just down with the fatties, also down with the yardage. And a lot of fatties though, like, because I also have no concept. I was just talking about this not too long ago. I really had no concept at how much fabric costs or how much you would need until I was like, oh yeah, make me some curtains. No, I'm sorry. Oh yeah, I'm going to make curtains. You just have to teach me. But like I kept Becky in front of the sewing machine long enough where I got 3 sets. Thank you. But like, she's like, oh, you need a couple yards of this. And I'm like, wait, hold on. What? And I was like, what? But then, like, now having it. So here's the part, like, when I was buying the fabric, I'm not going to lie, it was kind of like a shock to me. Like, wow, like, you need a backing and you need the pattern. And, like, and I thought I was just picking really simple stuff. And it's like $80 now. And but what I will say is every time I go into my kitchen and I see my cow print, like little ruffle, like, what are they called?
Cafe curtains. Valance.
Yeah, my little cafe curtains. I mean, you can't tell me nothing. I am a bad bee with those. Like, I stroll into that kitchen and I'm like customized. Not one of my friends have cow cafe curtains. Absolutely not. Or when I go into my bathroom and I have the gray fabric that I absolutely loved, like on my window. Or when I come in my office and I have these really cute curtains because I really like the fabric. And so although it was, oh wow, that's expensive. Now I get it because it's almost like it's highlighting a room. You walk in there and you just get like this feeling like, oh, I love these. Like it's an instant like little like boost. You're like, oh yeah, my little cow curtains. Like when I'm doing the dishes, I don't care to do the dishes. It's me and my cow curtains. Like, get out of here. When I walk into the bathroom, I'm like, oh man, this place looks 10 times better with customized curtains. But so I don't know that, because obviously I have a museum plug for the Sew Becca Quilting Museum in Holly, CEO of it. But also I don't know that like I necessarily want to do a blanket, but like I want to do the stuff that like maybe I don't want to buy, because that's another huge thing that I didn't even think to mention. Like, I don't want to buy curtains because I don't want to have the same curtains that everyone else does and that don't even fit my personality. Yeah. Or like another one, aprons. I love a good apron. I cook all the time, but like we went hunting for the perfect apron because as someone who cooks a lot, those little ones, like that just cut off right here. No, I need full coverage. I'm a messy cook. Like that was another thing. Like I want to have things that are customized and then bring in the world famous tea towel. I was like, well, I want to be able to like customize that. And I remember as a kid, like everyone that ever went to like someone's grandma's house or to someone's house that knew about them, they would have them and they would be on either a cabinet or the stove and you would just wipe your hands on them and they would be hanging. But like, I love a good theme. And so you can make them and customize them. And I was like, oh, you could put those in the bathroom if you wanted and like make like cute little bathroom ones. So it's really about like creating your own space.
Yeah. And why buy it for $20 when I can make it for $360? So
I mean,
totally.
that's what I'm saying. Like, money is no object at this point. I've got Fatties. I've got the Everso Sparrow 20. I've got Mary's cell phone number and FaceTime in my back pocket. You literally can't tell me anything. I am a quilter now. Mm-hmm.
Yep. No lies detected.
None. I mean, we may be lying or fibbing a little bit about whether or not I've sewn since I got home, but I mean, who am I to give away my secrets, you know?
It's true. It's 100% true. It's true.
And so it's interesting because when I started sewing, I started off the same way that she is, right? I just wanted to do craft projects, small projects, things that were easier to do. And people would say, oh, well, Mom actually was like, well, why don't you quilt that? And I'm like, no. Why don't you make a blanket? No, I don't want to do that. I don't. And then it was, why don't you make clothing? And I was like, okay, I'll try that. I mean, I started with making little wallets, and then I made bags, and then I started trying to make clothing. So I was like, oh, I could do this. And then I started following like all the clothing hacks to make Zoe little dresses with fabric and a tank top. And then I got bit by the quilting bug. Yeah. And for me, what happened was I started, and I could see the same trend with Alicia. I don't know if she's recognized that in her yet, but what got me into it was the practicality of making something useful. Whenever I made something, I wanted it to have a purpose. Yes, I wanted it to be unique. Yes, I wanted it to fit my taste, speak to my personality, but it needed to have a purpose other than to just be there.
Yeah.
But I found as I started getting into like the clothing and the curtains and things, you needed such a big setup because you were working with huge pieces of fabric. And that was getting overwhelming to me. So when I took a quilting class and they introduced me to, oh, you're just going to make this block. We'll worry about putting it all together later. That became a whole lot more digestible because I was just making a block. I was just doing a block. What I was going to do with the block later, it didn't matter. And in that transition, I started to let go of the need to make practical things and just enjoy the process of sewing. And that became therapeutic for me. I think a lot of us probably have that same journey, but what we're pouring our heart and soul into might not be a quilt, might be a bag, it might be clothing, it might be practical items, but there is a graduation that I feel like I had to go through to let go of perfect and to let go of practicality in order to lose myself in the craft and enjoyment on the other end.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. So, Alicia, what would you say are some of the important tools that as a new quilter yourself, or sewist even, because you've made those very highly well done towels.
Thank you for recognizing that. Thank you.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. What would you say are some important tools if someone, as a fresh newbie, someone coming into the sewing world, what tools would you recommend to them?
So here's what I've learned. And I swear to you, even if you don't sew, just going along with people, like to the shop hop. I was going to say hop along, like we're like Peter the Rabbit here. The shop hop. I learned a lot then because I learned that like bobbins, you can just buy pre-filled bobbins. Like I had no idea. I learned that rotary cutters, not everyone likes the same one. And there is I'm not going to get it, but I know Becky knows the name of it, but like the ruler, Mary taught me this and it stuck with me.
Select.
if you start cutting something with like the quilter select ruler, you're not about to change the ruler in the project. You need to stay with quilter select the entire time. And she like went over that. I'm not sponsored by Aliso, but the little iron with the hydraulics, like you, again, cannot tell me anything when it's going burr, burr. Like she is like out there. She is a game changer because I am very forgetful, and it really caught me by surprise when she would just like raise up. Like, I know you're going to forget about me and try to catch your house on fire. Girl, I got you. Like, I almost feel like when you call your like your homeowner's insurance, you should say, yeah, I only use an Aliso iron, because you don't have to worry about a house fire with this puppy. She's just going to that one, I don't own one yet, but I'm sure that'll be next. The cutting mat in starch. I've never in all of my 41 years have used starch, and the way that fabric felt, I'm a feeler, like emotionally and physically. Like, I love the feel of it. Wow. Like how stiff it was, and which made it 10 times easier, because Becky always told me, like, about ironing fabric and things like that. And I was like, oh, well, I've ironed it, but not like this, not with the starch. And my number one, like, you don't have to have it, but I'm a little addicted because Mary and Becky taught me how to roll the fabric with the little clips to make it look pretty. Like,
oh, the
Bolt
comic
buddies.
book
You can't
board.
see it on the
Bolt
shelf.
buddies.
Yeah, you can't see it on the shelf, but when I got home and I unpacked my suitcase, I literally did that. It's not as good as the one because I don't have the setup yet. We'll use that one because obviously this is like the drug of choice is quilting. I don't have it yet, but like being able to fold them up so neatly, like it makes you want to work with it, opposed to like, I won't show you the fabric container I have underneath me. But like, I don't want to deal with that. Like when I look at it, I get a little overwhelmed and I'm like, ooh, we're going to put the lid back on. Gotta go. But like when I look at it on the shelf, it's almost like it gives your brain the freedom, like in the quilt store, like you're like, oh, I'm drawn to that. I don't know what I'm going to do with it, but I need it. But when it's on your own shelf, you're like, oh, I'm thinking of making this. That's it. Like it makes no logical sense, but it's just some kind of process that your brain goes through, and it allows you to like, yeah, I'm going to be creative with that one. Yeah. So that one.
She's talking about the comic book boards.
Yeah.
And the bolt buddies.
Yep.
How to store your fabric. And that's how I store the fabric in my studio too. In fact, it is the backdrop for most of my videos. And it is honestly the best thing I would ever tell anybody to do. Because
Agreed.
not only do you get that, hit of creativity when you look at it, but it also allows you to know what you have.
Yeah.
I had a hard time when I was transitioning from our home in Arlington to this one. I had a specific cut of fabric that I needed for a project that I was planning to do as soon as I got my stuff unpacked. But I couldn't remember if I bought that fabric because it was in a tote. I had access to it, but in order to find out whether I had it, I would have to go through all of the totes of fabric. And so I just kept buying it. And I ended up with like 10 yards of this fabric when I only needed like 3.
Yeah.
So you get the hit of instant creativity.
Yeah.
You also know what you have, so you can be wise with your purchases, because at around $15 a yard, it adds up, right?
It does.
But then
I know that's right.
The other part of it that I love with the way she's storing her fabric is it doesn't just feed my creativity in that I'm seeing things that are making me feel creative. I can't create in chaos.
Yeah.
Chaos will shut my creativity down so quick. And I think for Alicia, a lot of the reason why she doesn't create is because everything's in that tub.
Yeah.
And as soon as she opens it up and starts digging through it to get her tools or get her fabric or whatever, she's already overwhelmed.
Yeah.
And she just doesn't want it. And now you're going to add doing these things that are new, and that's going to make her feel even more overwhelmed. And so she has to take a time out and she doesn't want to come back. And so I think with her stepping into, now I'm putting it on the shelves behind me and I can see it and I'm leaving my machine out. When she was sitting here and you said she reached over and turned on her machine, it's because it's sitting out. Yeah. It was never doing that before. Yeah. So if she needed to sew, she had to go get the machine and bring it out. She had to go get her fabric and bring it out. Now, you know, not everybody has that luxury to leave it set up, but if you have a table.
That happened to me in my apartment. I've talked about this prior. Like when I moved into the apartment with my roommate, I was having a lot of creativity issues because at that time I was making cards. And so my paper was in this drawer. My stamps were in my room. So I had to go back into my room to get the stamps. I would then, be working along and be like, oh, dang, that's in the room. So I'd leave what I was doing, go grab it, come back. And even with it being like literally 20 steps away, like it was such a, like, I would hit something that I would need and be like, ugh, I have to go get that. Like it puts such a block on your creativity, even though it's just a few steps away. Yeah. I don't know. It just, it makes you not want to create.
Yeah. Yeah.
I would agree. 'Cause I'm the same way with cooking. So, someone recently told me that like in your house you have, or in your space, you have certain areas within that your living space that's like your anchor. And so like you can't walk away with it dirty. Like you are not going to have a good day if it's dirty. Yeah. And so like my anchor currently, until I get the big old sew setup eventually. But like it's the kitchen. So I really understood that. And I was like, wow, I don't like to go to bed with a sink full of dishes. Like I like a clean counter because when I wake up, that's going to be the first area I see. And so I was talking to Becky about it, and Becky was like, oh, that makes sense, because with hers, it's her sewing studio. Because I find creativity like through food. Love feeding people. It's like my guilty pleasure. Love it. And so like I can't follow a recipe or even understand the recipe if I have a dirty kitchen. The first thing, I have to make sure I have a clean area. And then she was talking about like, oh yeah, like that's the same here. Like if she were to walk into her sewing studio and it's just chaos, she can't, because all her brain is focusing on is like everything else than what like the creativity. And then she's completely depleted by the time she gets it all cleaned up, where you don't want to do it anymore. Like I don't want to cook after having to clean the entire kitchen, messing up the kitchen, and then going back and re-cleaning it. It's the same process, I would assume, in anyone's like quilting area, wherever they're trying to be creative.
What are some similarities that you're seeing between cooking and sewing? I feel like there's some similarities.
No, there are. Like, it's so funny that you said that, because like right away, like while you guys were talking, I was thinking about like other things that like really deter me from wanting to like quilt, and patterns. I don't think, and again, take this for what it will. I'm very new to this. I am not, I don't have a lot underneath my belt when it comes to patterns, but what I can speak to are some of the patterns that I've either tried to follow, read, whatever. If you are a truly new person like myself and you're trying to read it, it doesn't make sense. Like I tried to follow the pattern that Mary was helping me with, and she's like, oh, this is not beginner friendly, because again, it's very much the same thing that we talked about. Like someone who quilts all the time, oh, this is easy. Like Mary understood it. But if I were to have tried, and I'm being so honest, if I were to have tried that pattern by myself, two things were going to happen. I would have flipped my entire table, and the sew sparrow would have went flying into the sky, like birds of a feather, like, woo, gone. And I would have never wanted to try again, because I would have felt so frustrated, because it's almost like, when I'm reading a recipe and the recipe, I know enough about cooking where I would understand like what they meant, or like if I didn't want to add something, I'm like, I don't need to add that. I'm not a fan. But like, I feel very comfortable with that. But like for someone who doesn't cook, if they were to read some of the recipes I have, they're like, what do you mean? Like, what do you mean? What does that even mean? That's how I feel about sewing patterns.
Yeah.
Like, because I read it once, just like a recipe, and I'm like, oh, okay. And then I'm a big advocate for winging stuff I probably shouldn't wing. And so then I try to wing it, and it doesn't wing very well.
Yeah, we just had an experience with that today, in fact. We're recording this podcast the day that I went live for Vintage Sew Sunday with Becca here, and she dove into the pattern. We were doing a foundation paper piecing, and she dove into the pattern, not reading it or anything, and realized
that's smart.
that she definitely sewed several pieces that she didn't need to sew, and then sewed some of the pieces.
I don't want anybody to tell me what to do. Not a pattern, not nothing.
Yep.
Just show
Right,
me where,
you can't
what
tell
I'm
me
going.
nothing. It runs in the family. Can't tell me anything.
Yep.
Like if it says you should probably read the instructions, putting together furniture, I'm not about to do it. Are you kidding? Why do I need this piece of paper to dictate how I'm going to customize this piece? This is a one of a kind.
That's
one
right.
of a kind.
See?
Yeah.
With all those extra pieces left over.
It doesn't even matter
Listen,
if it
my butt
wobbles.
can still sit on it. It's fine.
Right.
The wobbliness is just a feature.
No, it's a customization. It's couture. So I think just the instructions, and I know that I'm not the only one out there, but I really feel like there's a whole group of us that want to quilt or want to learn how to sew, or that really, we just need someone to meet us at where we're at. And I'm so excited because some of like the areas around me are starting to offer like sewing classes and like beginner friendly things, because I would much rather do that than like a paint and pour. Like, I can't paint. I'm just like, I can, and I will go with my friends, but I am more of like an abstract girly. Like, just look at it from far away. Don't get too close. Whereas like that's not going to help me. Right. Whereas I would rather learn like something that I wish like my grandma could have taught me, or something that I could use to do something. Because another thing that you guys were talking about like quiltings and how like quilts and how it kind of, you guys got there, was like, to me, what I love about quilts is like, someone said it the best online, and I couldn't remember who it was, but they're like, it's like a hug from that person when you give someone a quilt. But for me, it's like a charm bracelet, if you will. Like there's memories. So as you're going along those shop hops, like I can tell you right now, this egg fabric is funny to me, because to someone, it's just egg fabric, but it's so special for so many different reasons. So when I go to use this, I'm going to remember that Mary and Becca surprised me with the egg fabric, because I wasn't going to get it. It was at one of the ones in the Mid-Atlantic. 2, then I left it in Becky's car forever. And I made the joke about good thing they weren't real eggs, because they would be rotten. And then 3, Mary was super nice. Not only did she send it, but she sent me a little card with it. So like this fabric is nothing to so many people. But like to me, this fabric has memories behind it. And I'm more of a sentimental girly. So like the idea that like the fabric carries a story in itself, and you use like, look at all the different fabric that you guys have in your quilts. They all have a story. Or like when you were going to quilt it, to me, it's like a scrapbook. You have this great thing that's full of memories, or even just that someone spent time and energy and money on. And it's, to me, it's never about the money, but just really like how much goes into like every stitch.
Yeah.
Like I would be just fine just straight lines, but the fact that this is quilted with all these fancy designs, like that takes time. And so I think the sentimental piece of quilting itself, like I don't know that I'll get into it anytime soon, but like that's the reason why I'm the CEO of the museum, because I love knowing my sister did all of this. And I also know where she started, like before she like started with that big old long arm, whatever it is, and Ruby, the magical little sewing machine, like back in the basement at her old house when she was just trying to learn how to do a bag. And I had so many little bags. But I also remember when she tried her hand at jewelry making. I still have some of the jewelry that she made.
Oh my gosh, I forgot about that.
Yeah. Like, I'm the CEO of like Becky's Crafts. Like, let me show you. Like, I've got the little wire jewelry when she was going down that route. It's tarnished, shocker, but I still have it. So I don't know. The sentimental piece, I think, is just no one ever talks about that.
Yeah, for sure. I've dove into my scrap fabrics it's funny because I'll pull one out and I'll be like, oh, I remember what project I made this with. And like, it gives you a little, like you said, kind of scrapbook. And I've heard of people taking scraps from their projects and making spool blocks with them.
Oh, yeah, that's cool.
So that each block is its own spool of the colors used from that project. And then they'll put all of those spools together into a quilt to make kind of a scrapbook quilt, if you will, of all the projects that they've used. So that's a fun idea.
Wouldn't it be the same concept of why people want their old t-shirts quilted into a quilt? It's like the same thing. But if you actually go to the fabric stores, like every piece of fabric, I swear to you, and it was really surprising, even just the first shop hop that Becky and I did in Michigan, like I can almost point out every single place I got every piece of fabric, because it just stood out to me. And like the whole entire day, that was what was really cool. It wasn't just the fabric. It was the entire thing, to be able to experience something from someone else's point of view, and like seeing like, oh, this is what you do when you walk into a fabric store. Like I don't know if anyone's ever, I know you have, Ian and Mary, and I don't know who else that's listening to this, but if you go into the fabric store with like Mary, Ian, and Becca, like they're three different ways. Like I'm just sitting here watching like three people go in three different directions. Somehow they all manage at the register. They're all like, oh no, that's it. And then they go, while they're waiting, they go look at another fabric, come back with, oh, I'll just take this. And then you get back in the car and you're like, you kind of feel like a little tornado, because everyone has such different tastes. And I learned this too. So like Ian does not love my taste in fabric.
Nope.
Because we're very opposite. Yeah. Like that's okay. Like, but I've learned, like I am not modern. And like, you would think that maybe I was modern. I am an old school, like traditional girly. And I didn't know that was even a thing. Like I know Becky loves Tula. Yes, I know. I don't love Tula because it's very bright. And when I think of a quilt, I think tradition. Maybe one day I'll get there. But like for me, I'm like, oh, I love this soft print. Like almost everything I bought, like you would imagine it to be in like a 1920s farmhouse in some way.
Yeah.
Like that's how I identify a 1920s farmhouse with the slamming front door.
Yeah. You love vintage vibe.
It.
You love the vintage vibe. And it's funny, we do agree on one thing, though. Halloween fabric is totally our jam.
Listen.
Totally.
I purposely opened up my little tub. She's small, but she is mighty. Of fabric, because that was the first thing, as soon as I knew that Ian loved Halloween, because this was before him and I had even met in person.
Yep.
Like I knew I had to show him, and he was on FaceTime, and I just did, what was it, it had to have been 25, 30 minutes of me saying, do you want to see my fabric? And it sounded so wild for me to be saying, do you want to see my fabric? And I went through all of my Halloween stuff, and I was like, just like this, I was like, can you see me? I was like, look at this. Do you see this? And he'd be like, oh, I like that. And then we'd like go through them. But like one time Mary FaceTimed me when Becky was at the retreat, and I was more excited to show her like all of my little wheat prints or my little chickens or like my little blue florals, like all of the really cool ones. But like Ian and I on Halloween, you can't tell us anything in a Halloween section. We are like synced up.
Yep.
We love it. You gave me some while I was there. He let me have some Halloween fabric.
Yeah.
I didn't finish that project either.
You did not.
I'm noticing a trend. Noticing a trend.
You did not. Yeah, I noticed you didn't finish it. I was like, oh, okay.
Okay. I don't know, like, if this is somehow slid into like the other podcast that you guys did, where we're self-identifying like things about ourselves and talking about our feelings. I'm noticing I'm not a finisher of
Yep.
projects,
You're a
except
starter.
right. I will start it. Same thing with crocheting. I will crochet you the thinnest scarf. Once you get past the chain, I am not your girl. Like, do not expect me to keep you warm. I'm here for something custom. And by custom, I mean I will start it and I'm not finishing it.
It's funny that you're with your preference. So Alicia and I are separated by 7 years.
Mhm.
She's the youngest and I'm the oldest.
Mhm.
And my mom often says that we're the bookends
Mhm.
because the two in the middle are a lot alike and the two on the outside are a lot alike.
Mhm.
And for most of her life, I have been able to see myself in her. And so I've been down that journey. And so I'll be like, oh, this and this and this. And I want to solve the problem or tell her about herself or whatever it is so that she can skip that part or,
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
Mhm.
And I have heard so much over the past 41 years. I'm not you. I'm
Yes.
not you. We're different people, but there are so many similarities.
Yeah.
So 40 years old, right? Starting to quilt, starting to sew with practical projects. Her
With no
color
finishes.
palette of choice is very reproduction.
Yep.
That was me.
Yep.
The wall behind her is tan, a wheat color.
Mm-hmm.
I had walls that were wheat-ish in my basement. Yep. I had wheat walls in the basement. So like my taste along with the craft and the things that I wanted to do evolved, right? And I see that will be something that will happen with her too. She will eventually get to whatever her palette is. It might stay this. It doesn't matter. But the point is she's got to let down her guard to experience those other things.
So we are turning.
Yep.
Yep.
For me, when I first started playing with fabric, it was the reproduction tones and it was the pastels.
Mhm.
That's what I would go to every single time. And I learned for me that it was because I was afraid of the color. I was afraid of how bold that color would be.
I was just going to say that because and you're very spot on because it's safer to me. Like if I feel like the bolder prints, like I would reserve that. The fabric is just like, it is pretty. Like it's not that I don't like Tula because it's not gorgeous, but like I wouldn't want to use Tula for the projects that I like at my level.
Yeah.
And so like my level is like, I'm going to use Tula to make a tea towel. One of a kind, very custom. Let's not leave that out there. Probably going to win like a ribbon at some sort of quilters guild one time at least. But like I wouldn't use that. So the patterns I choose are very safe for a reason because they're within my price range. Tula is more expensive but it should be. It's not to say that it's not worth it, but I need to be totally in, like both feet invested before I like go down that rabbit hole. But what's really funny is Becky and I had that conversation about how I'm entering 40, like I'm 41 and there's something to be said about your 40s in this family. Apparently quilting just comes along because if I remember correctly, mom was in her 40s when she started the hand quilting. And a lot of it is, I feel like life is starting to like slow down a little bit. And Jake just graduated. So my son just graduated and that's a huge thing. Like I start to think like, what am I going to do now? Like I have this child, which I'm so thankful and so proud of, but like the majority of my life has been raising a child. So what do I do with this free time? Like I live in the middle of nowhere. Like I'm not rushing to go here or going to do that. Like, like this is new. I have this time. Like, I can do this. And like, it's really just building, I think, the confidence. I really think once I build the confidence of like understanding, because here's what I feel comfortable with about my tea towels. I know how to do the pattern, which I didn't know before. I know how to cut the pattern. I know about like, the back stitch.
Back stitch.
Yeah, I know about that. And I think that I could absolutely put together one by myself. But it was nothing about that pattern that helped me do that. It was me being able to sit one on one with someone and then meet me at my level to be able to explain it or what I was really struggling with. And it's almost like as soon as Becky understood what it wasn't that I wanted someone else to like quilt it, but I was struggling with like just that quarter inch because it was scary to me. So she just had to show me that there was a tool with the little bumpers. And so now I can bumper bowl down the sewing machine if I need to. But it encourages me. But
Yeah.
also the space, like having a lot of space to be able to cut, because I feel a little claustrophobic after going into the Sew Studio 5000 with 87 different sewing machines. And I've got like an IKEA table here, and I'm like, oh my God, I don't have enough room to cut this little like tea towel. Oh my God, I need the giant like industrial cutting mat and the little hydraulic ironing. And where's that starch at? Like, oh, I need a hit of that starch. But like, it's just really creating it. So I knew as soon as I got home, like being able to like fold those up and like keep my machine out, like I will get back to it. But if I put the machine away from when Becky visited, or I just put that fabric that I just bought, that I just had like this great memory with, then it would get lost. Just like when you take a million pictures on a trip and you never go back and revisit them. So you have like 1,000 pictures of this great vacation. Like, no, like I have all of these fabrics from a great time, a great weekend, and I want to keep them out because it reminds me that like I'm just starting this. This isn't something that I'm done now. I've learned that, okay, not understanding a pattern is absolutely normal.
Yes.
Like, but see, like to me, I thought it was just me being new. Like, oh my God, is it me? Like I struggle with math, measuring, like those things that stresses me out. Cutting fabric stresses me out. And like Mary was like, no, look, you I learned about salvage, like the salvage and end to end. Is it end to end?
With
And
the
then the
fabric.
salvage.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, the length of fabric. I learned all about this. And when you're looking at fabric, the pattern matters because it's going to matter how you cut it depending on what you're going to use it for. So it was that one-on-one that like I really feel like now I understand why like the lives are so good because you can interact and ask those questions. I'm not going to say that I never saw the benefit before, but like the benefit now that I understand, like, oh, there's all sorts of things that you just want to ask someone a question, and not everyone has like a Becky and an Ian and a Mary a FaceTime away where I'm like, hey, real quick, like, how do I wind this bobbin? Hurry. Like, I'm almost out. Like, they don't all have that. So like, I'm like, oh, like this is a completely untapped area. Like I know my friends want to do, we call it, and it's no offense, but we call it like we want to do grandma shit. You know what I mean? Like we want to learn how to sew. We want to learn how to like make our own bread. We like I do that or like do little things that we wish that someone's grandma would have been like, hey, you know, this is what we do. If you don't want to like pay for like curtains, you can make them real easy. Or if you don't want to pay for a tea towel because no one makes them near as good as Alicia at the Sew Becca Museum, then, you know, you got to get a pattern, but you got to understand it.
She cracks me up so much.
Well, and I think the pattern thing is a really good piece to touch on. And let's be real, most of our audience are people who have been quilting, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so a lot of what we're talking about here is from the lens of somebody who is just dipping their toe into the pool. They're not diving in. They're looking at it. They're thinking about it. They're testing it out. They like the idea of it, but they're not all there yet.
Yep.
One of my biggest pieces of advice to you, Alicia, and anybody else starting to get to advance their skill or even just start, if you find a pattern writer that writes instructions in a way that your brain understands, stick with them.
Yeah.
There are so many pattern writers out there. And for a lot of like the quilt patterns, most of those quilt layouts or the blocks, somebody else has done something similar. It is not worth your time to feel frustrated with a pattern that's going to make you feel like you're a failure.
Yep.
Because as an instructional designer and as somebody who has taken, like, I'm well versed in that area as well, it is a skill set to be able to explain what one needs to do when only equipped with paper, right?
Yep.
You've got to be able to illustrate it, and you've got to be able to speak it succinctly enough that you're explaining it, but not losing them in a novel.
Yep.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Speaking from someone who's ADHD AF, when I put together, so my new thing is, and I think it kind of goes hand in hand with like learning like instructions. I just joked about like not reading instructions. It's not that I don't want to read instructions like to put furniture together. It's because like my brain doesn't work that way. I need pictures. Like if you tell me something, I need a picture. And I don't know what the name brand of it. It was probably no brand, but I bought a shoe rack and I could have had my husband put the shoe rack together. In fact, it would have probably not taken 2 days. I just want to I'm being so for real. It took me 2 days. And he even kind of kept poking his head in like, you need some help? Nope. And the way that I like described it to him is I'm so stubborn. Like I want to do it by myself to prove to myself that I can do it. Because a lot of it, like you almost start to blame yourself. Like, why can't I read a pattern the way that everyone else does? Is there something wrong with me? The same with instructions. And so like I did it more to prove it to myself that I could do it. Like it wasn't going to be, our job at most that it would have taken almost anybody else. But it did take 2 days. But you know what? It's standing. It's put together.
It's functional.
And it's very original. But I did it and I was like, I told him, I was like, the other thing is like, I don't want to like, just say I'm one of those people like, oh yeah, I'll just have my husband put it together because what happens if I need to do it or what, knock on wood, but what happens if there's ever a time that like, I need to do it and you're not here. The same goes with like you guys. I don't like to use you guys as a crutch, like because I have you here. There's a million other things that you guys could be doing than trying to walk me through how to reload a bobbin for the 75th time this week. But like, it's the same thing. Like, I think it's just a matter of like getting comfortable with where I'm at, but also like not relying on like a crutch of having all of these expert, like I could probably go in the Sew Becca and Friends, what is it? 5,500 people, in there and be like, hi friends, I'm Becca's sister. Can someone tell me how to load a bobbin again? Like, I just can't be doing that. I really need to learn it myself. It's just, it takes me a lot longer. And it's that grace that you guys have both like kind of touched on. I just need to give myself grace to understand that I'm going to keep forgetting how to load that bobbin, but soon enough, I'm going to load it or just buy one that's already loaded, plug to that. But I'm going to know what it's like, what it is. And eventually, like, even though I'm following this, I want to say recipe, but it kind of is. The instructions for a pattern, like it's so frustrating right now, but it's not always going to be that way. And just like being able to like look at something and do it, like I'm not going to read the instructions for the little tea towel again, but you bet you that I know that I need to pin the pattern. I need to cut around it. Like I know what the accent strip is. Like I know all of that, but I'm going to kind of do the same thing I do with recipes. And I'm sure you guys do the same thing. Like a pattern will say like, oh, do this. You're like, we're going to, we're going to freestyle a little bit here.
That's what I do, right? I've gotten to that point when I remember as a new quilter or a new sewist, I would struggle with that. If I had to read a pattern, I would feel overwhelmed by reading the pattern. I would feel overwhelmed by it. But you give me a YouTube video, you give me somebody that visually will show me how to do it, I'm there. Right. So I know one of the things, Alicia, I've not talked about this. I don't think I've ever really mentioned it, but it's kind of obvious and a lot of people already know it. There are a lot of pattern writers that write a pattern that accompanies a tutorial video that breaks it down into very small steps. Sarah Lawson from Sew Sweetness, she makes a lot of bags, and her bags are easy to make, and all of her patterns, a good portion of them, come with a video tutorial.
Yep.
And it's like a 2-hour, essentially, she calls them master classes. It's like,
Oh,
it's awesome. She's very easy to listen to. She's very down to earth, very like it. You want to learn from her, but that seems to be a trend. I've done it myself with a couple of beginner friendly patterns that I've put out there. I've made the video tutorial to go along with it to walk people through what I mean, because you might not be that person that wants to read the pattern. You might not be able to. My brain can't handle it.
Yep. Absolutely.
I didn't even know that was a thing. Like, I'm sitting here learning that, and I'm like, what?
Yeah.
Becky's told me, though, like, it's no fault of the resources that have been told to me multiple times that YouTube was a great resource.
Yes.
But, like, kind of like what I'm hearing now, it's literally the same reason why I choose, like, for me, my guilty pleasure, I use Sally's Baking Addiction. And if you ever like go to Sally's Baking Addiction and you read the reason why she does it, is she taught herself. And it sounds like it's the same thing here. She taught herself and wanted to write easy recipes for other people who were trying to teach themselves to follow. And so like when I read one of her recipes to make a homemade butter crust, like I have no business making, but I'm about to now enter the state fair because my butter crust is like top tier. It's not because I just magically wrote that. It's someone broke it down for me in a way that my brain was able to process. And there's videos, just like what you're saying. So like that makes me more excited to try to make like one project besides my tea towel, my world famous tea towel. Because like, if someone could break it down and I can rewind it. And so as I'm having questions, like the questions that are popping in my head are being answered instead of like the questions overwhelming the process where I can't follow along with the video or the instruction.
Yep.
Yeah, definitely.
What about you? We've done a lot of talking over the past,
I know you have
10 minutes or so, maybe longer. And I feel like you've not really been able to add a lot. What your journey into quilting started with your aunt.
Yep.
So, and people can go back and watch that episode if they want the whole story. But in your journey, you have a unique perspective to learning how to quilt and reading patterns because you're dyslexic. So how did you learn? What worked for you?
YouTube videos helped a lot. YouTube videos really helped a lot. We harp on it every single day that YouTube is such an amazing resource for anything you want to learn. If you want to learn coding, if you want to learn
YouTube
cooking.
University.
It really, like, everybody keeps saying that as a joke, but it's true. Like, there's so many different perspectives too. So you could have the same project, but 5 different YouTube creators do it 5 different ways.
Yeah.
So it's always amazing to me to be able to go onto the University of YouTube and look up all the information that's available out there. So yeah, I'm a visual learner. I learn by doing and seeing, and so YouTube is a great resource for me. And I think that's why I wanted to start a YouTube channel too, is I wanted to show my process. Yep.
That's exactly why I started mine. So I have always gotten really okay. I have always gotten really excited when I learn something about passing that knowledge on. And my younger siblings have lived through their childhood being subjected to playing office or school where if I had, the number of times I'd be standing in front of a chalkboard that I scrimped and saved by. Anyway, but that's what the YouTube channel was for me. My first video that I put out there, which I don't even think you can see anymore, the very first video that I put out there was literally, how do I change the needle on my brother's sewing machine?
Yep.
And I did it because I had just been bitten by the bug. I had just bought a sewing machine and I was going to sew, and I felt like my sister-in-law and my sisters and my mom and my friends were all going to sew too. And I was going to convince them to do it. And I was going to give them that video to go to. So as I was as I was learning how to do things, I thought I would make a video for them. I made that video, and then the ADD part of me took over, and I never did the rest of the series. It took me 2 years to do my next video.
That's familiar.
So, but I eventually did get back to it, and Alicia and I have talked about this behind the scenes, and I've got it slated for the start of the new year. So it is coming. When I first started my channel, I did like a 3 or 4 part series videos of like back to the basics. And it was, this is a rotary cutter. This is how you read your ruler. This is how you use a rotary cutter. This is how you do this. Like all of the things that you need to know, the terms that she has.
Yeah.
And in my head as a YouTube creator, I keep thinking when people ask me for that, I'm like, I made a video for that already. But what I have to understand is sometimes that content needs to be refreshed.
Yeah.
Right.
Absolutely.
And so those topics are literally on a list for me to do a 4-part series in 2026, where I breathe new life into them and I show you the same information, but new. And that's going to get it it's going to feed it up for you a little bit more. So
refreshed information.
Yep.
I have a question.
Yeah.
So my question, because like as Ian was talking, like, and I haven't watched the episode, but as you were talking about like your aunt getting you into it, and like as you started, like I know the frustration that I feel when I try to read a pattern, or like that, like you're just looking at it and it's not like happening. Like you obviously have overcome it. Like what did you do to like get over the hurdle, and what steps did you take to like, okay, like I'm just going to keep on throwing myself in the fire until eventually I can do a quarter inch. Yeah.
It was a lot of trial and error and a lot of walking away, putting projects in timeout.
Gosh, that is, sorry to interrupt, but that is like the biggest lesson I had to learn.
Yeah.
If I start to get frustrated, we're not going to grudge it.
Yep.
We're going to walk away.
Yeah.
But see,
absolutely.
I didn't know that. Like even, and I want to get back to like the rest of it, but like just hearing you guys understand, like, and meet me, I thought that day when I put myself in a timeout that I was like, oh my God, they're probably going to think I'm the biggest baby because I can't do this.
No,
like in best practice, whenever I feel overwhelmed, I put myself in a timeout. But it's like I'm sitting here in my head thinking, why can't I do this? It's a straight line on a self-guided, like Mary's machine is like a Cadillac. Why can I not do this?
Yep.
Okay. But
no, absolutely. That's a huge one for me, because when I started sewing as a younger kid, because I dabbled on and off with sewing. And as a kid, I would see my mom like pin, and then she would sew like an inch or so and then stop and adjust, and then sew about an inch and then stop and adjust, and sew about an inch and stop and adjust. And as a kid, I was like, I don't want to do that. I just want to vroom, 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 like just keep sewing. And so as a kid, that's what I did. I just would like, and all my lines would be all over the place and whatever.
Me.
But as I've grown older and like learned and, wanted pieces to be entered into quilt shows and competition and stuff like that, I realized how important it is to slow down, stop, adjust, make sure that you're keeping that distance even, making sure that you're keeping your stitches even, all that kind of stuff like that. Now it's second nature to me to do it that way. And I would never think about, if I can find a straightaway, sure, let's do it. Or if I'm making a quilt that's not going to be entered in a show and, just for friends or, whatever. Sure, I can speed things up a little bit. And so what? It's not a quarter inch all the way down. It's fine. But there's definitely times that I've learned you need to slow down, take it step by step and walk it through, and times that you can be like, close enough,
Yep.
So,
I think that like just hearing you guys both like say that that's normal to like walk away because you're frustrated or because like you're annoyed about like the littlest things, like it just makes sense because I also feel like if you're in a bad mood, I don't like to do any sort of cooking, arts, crafts, whatever when I'm in a bad mood because I feel like it's bad juju and I never want like that to be transferred through like something I'm making for someone. And so like I'll be like, nope, not doing it. But like apparently it's the same in sewing or quilting.
A lot of the
like,
rules a lot of what you've seen and the rules that you have in whatever your passion is, it's the same thing in quilting. That passion, those rules, those exist. It's because it's more about the human process than it is the act of actually quilting anything.
Definitely.
For me, I have a rule in my sewing room. If I make 3 mistakes, I put it in timeout. And that timeout might just be, I'm going to go take a brain break, or I'm going to pick up a different project, or I'm going to go get a glass of water and then I'll come back, or I'm going to put it in the bin and I'm not going to look at it for a year. It just depends on what I'm feeling. But I have learned from myself that if I'm not enjoying the process, we ain't doing it.
Yeah.
So if I bought fabric that I loved at the time, but I no longer love, and I'm not enjoying putting a project together because I don't want to look at that fabric, quilt bankruptcy. It goes on to somebody else, or I can repurpose the fabric into something else. Yeah. I am not above saying I ain't doing it and just getting rid of it.
Absolutely.
So you guys both agree on that?
Oh, yeah, 100%.
Absolutely.
But see, like to someone who's only seen, and to be fair, I've only seen you guys quilt amazing things. And like to put it out there, like I had, no idea. This is like, I didn't know there was what did you call it? Bankruptcy? What?
I call it quilt bankruptcy. I did a whole video on this a while ago. Yeah. But it's a phrase that I have coined when you, for whatever reason, don't want to finish that project. Either you've fallen out of love with the project, it no longer serves a purpose, you've lost your joy in making it, or maybe whoever you were intending to make it for no longer deserves a quilt. They're not quilt worthy, and you were only making it for them. So you decide to claim quilt bankruptcy. And when you do that, you can do one of several things. You could throw the whole thing in the trash, but don't tell anybody else that you threw that fabric away.
Yeah.
Right.
But you could, because you spent the money on it. Don't let people tell you can't throw it away. You could pay it forward to another quilter who loves that project and wants to finish it, which is usually what I'll do. Yeah. You can repurpose the fabric into something else. Or
donation.
Yeah. Like, give it to somebody, donate it, sell it, whatever.
There's several guilds who do project swaps where they're projects that have already been started, or something that you've declared quilt bankruptcy on, and you can trade projects and stuff like that. So that way, there's many times that there's like people will finish quilt tops, but they don't want to do anything else with them. Like they've just finished the quilt top, they don't want to do any more work on them, and so they'll have a whole table of projects that people can come swap. They can trade out projects, they can do whatever. There's a lot of different ways to organize that and do that.
So that leads me to another question then. So I know with a lot of projects, everyone has the one that they felt like they just, like, I just saw it online in one of the furniture groups, like where they repurpose. Yeah. And someone asked the question, and I just wonder if you guys have something similar when it comes to quilting, about the one project that you guys kept on trying to force, that ultimately it wasn't going to work. Yep. So I'm just curious what that project was for both of you guys and what happened.
Oh, gosh. This has turned into more a new quilter interviewing seasoned quilters. Right?
I mean, this is the stuff we want to know, your failures. Like, we love it.
I'm loving where this is going. Like, some of the other stuff might get on the cutting room floor to get to this part.
Are you kidding? Yours? This is like a 5-part series now.
I think that's what it's going to have to be, because I have to edit all this. So we may have to end it after this. But I'm trying to think of a project that I kept forcing, and There was a jacket. I did finish it. There was a jacket. Because I went and saw a fashion exhibit at the Dallas Museum of Art, and there was this jacket that I absolutely loved. It had this huge train coattail thing on it, and I like fell in love with it. And so I went to Joann's and found some really expensive, thicker fabric, and I was like, I'm gonna make that jacket, and I started making it. And I had a pattern, but I was modifying the pattern. And I was just having trouble. And so like it would go into this bin and I would put it away and be like, I don't want to look at it. And a year later I'd find it again and be like, oh, I should probably finish that. And so I'd pull it back out and work on it again. And then it would anger me and I'd put it away. And I actually talked to several, because, you know, I come from the theater world and I knew several costume designers, and I would talk to them about like, hey, can you help me like finish this? And it never really got finished. And then right before I moved.
Yep.
Yeah, right before I moved, I found it again. And I was like, oh, yeah, there's this. And so I finished it. I finished it and put it together. And I'm going to admit something here. We're coming out with confession time right now.
Yes!
I finished it. And in the move, I couldn't stand looking at it. And so I threw it away.
You heard it here first, folks.
I did.
Ian
I did.
got rid of, declared bankruptcy on the jacket from hell.
Yep. It didn't fit right. It wasn't a project that made me happy. It didn't bring joy. And I didn't want it to take up space in the move. And so I was like, well, we're declaring bankruptcy on it, and it went away.
But see, what I heard is, and when you go back to edit this, the way that you brought up the jacket opposed to any other project, like you could hear it in the tone when you brought it up. Like there was some bad juju, like it was not. You worked hard for that, all for nothing. And then to find out, it was like, you know, it's almost like you did it, you finished it just to say you finished it. And even then it was like, no, this is not it.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Doggone.
Quilting confessions with Alicia. Your turn, Becca.
I have been so transparent since I've started my channel on when a project isn't going to get finished.
Yeah.
I'm just like, no, I'm not feeling it. I don't like it. Nope, not doing it. I feel like I've been very transparent about that. I've been very open about scrap it if it's not what you want. And I think I'm the first person to tell people to scrap the project.
Yeah.
So I don't have an example of anything recent like that, but I can give you an example of something that I had to just grudge it all the way through. So when I first started sewing pre-YouTube days, like I was still in the phase of I am just trying to figure out how to make these sew sweetness patterns or these swoon patterns or sew a piece of cotton onto a tank top for my daughter. I decided I was going to make my husband's ex-wife a blanket because I didn't even know it was a quilt. I just knew it would be a blanket in autism colors. Mm-hmm. And Jason had bought me this small brother embroidery machine. It was like the SE400, max suit size was 4 inches. Don't have it anymore. But I was like, I'm going to use this and I'm going to use the embroidery module to stitch out some autism designs on these pieces of fabric. Now, I could list for you right here all the reasons why that project went sideways, and some of it will go completely over Alicia's head, so it's really not even worth getting into, but let's just say no stabilizer, muslin fabric, broadcloth, not cotton, like I could keep going. All of those things made that project really hard for me to understand how to do. But I was invested in it and I felt like I had put so much money into the fabric and into the batting that I had to finish it.
Yeah.
I did not, there was no way I was going to take no for an answer because I spent money on it and I needed to get my money's worth out of it. And in the end, what I ended up making is a blanket that was pillowcase turned with 2 layers of warm and natural padding on the inside. But all I had was a domestic machine, and I didn't know any better. And so when it got to the quilting stage, I got like 1 line of stitching down that, and that's about all I could do. And I was just frustrated with it, and I gave up. I gifted it to her, and she loved it because it was what it was. But it has not held up.
Yeah.
It has not held up. So that for me is one of the things that I go back to when I think about whether or not I'm going to continue a project that's not bringing me joy. If quilting really is my therapy and it is my creative outlet, then I have to give myself the freedom to accept that I'm making mistakes, or something about that project is not satisfying that therapeutic piece.
Yeah.
And so it's okay to let it go and move on to something else.
100%. Totally agree with that.
I'm so glad we had quilting therapy today.
I know.
Dun, dun, dun.
This is a great set.
I'll make sure to bill you both.
Oh, okay,
That's
perfect.
fine.
Love it.
Love that.
So I think you alluded to kind of ending here and maybe picking up with another session in the future, which is...
So you think I'm a good fit? You want me back?
Well, and I think that's where I was going to go.
Yeah.
So folks know that we talked about it. You came to visit last month. You were here for a long weekend, and you and I have talked about you coming back and just having like a creative weekend, right? Like your journey in here is just being here to use the space to be creative and to be able to decompress. So can folks look forward to you coming back or hanging out with us sometime soon?
You know, I just thought of this also. This is not my first time unveiling myself. I remember very specifically going to the Scrappy Apple.
To Scrappy Apple.
And I may or may not have ended up on Ian's live, just so you know.
That's right.
Yep.
I just this is not my debut. I sneak in there where I can get it.
That is true, except that video is not available because the quality, like the cell signal in the Scrappy Apple,
wasn't the best.
Not good. So that video doesn't exist out there anymore, unfortunately. She was in it, but also when I went back and watched it, it was pretty blurry because of the cell signal. So
it's like Wilson.
Right, exactly.
I'm Wilson.
People couldn't see you all that well in it. So I'm calling this your first time here. So
fine. Yep. All right, it'll be my debut.
There you go.
So when are you coming back? When are we having another girls'
Whoa. Listen, you can't just like spring demands on me and ask me like, when are you coming back?
Know the answer.
Listen, I'm already committed. Like, I will be back. Like, I just don't know when. And I'm going on the cruise, so I don't know if everyone knows this.
We do know when. We do know when. Because we've talked about this.
When am I coming back?
QuiltCon. You'll be
QuiltCon. That's what I was saying. Like, QuiltCon was when I am going to be bringing Everso Sparrow 20 into flight. I'm actually just not going to fly, and I'm going to use my Sparrow, and I'm just going to zoom on over. Like the hocus pocus, instead of like riding the vacuum, I'm just, me and old Sparrow are just going to fly there. Of course, so that's exactly right.
We've got hotel rooms at the Residence Inn next door, like we did last time in Raleigh.
Yep.
And when I booked our room, so I booked the room for the guys and I booked the room for us, but when I booked your room, you must have gotten the last room with 2 queen beds. That was it. And I was like, okay, well, my room needs to have room for me, Tiffany, and Mary. So I got us a 1-bedroom suite. So it has a bedroom with 2 queen beds, but then the living room and the kitchen area. And so Alicia has been really getting into wanting to spend more time being creative, and she likes seeing the behind the scenes, and she's been a bit more active in like the Sew Becca universe. Yeah. So I asked her if she wanted to go to QuiltCon with us, and she said yes.
Awesome.
So,
I didn't even know that.
yeah, I'll be.
Well, you heard it here first, folks. But I also want to say that I did find Ian on TikTok a few weeks ago, and I popped in. I said hello. Like, I was on there too, so I'm really getting around this quilting community. Like, you're going to catch me on someone else's YouTube. I'm a hot commodity with those tea towels.
Oh, gosh. So I'll be flying her in. We're not sure if she's flying into DC and riding down with us or just going to fly directly into Raleigh, depending on what her schedule looks like.
Definitely.
But we're trying to target her being there for all 4 days, just like we are, so she can experience everything with us.
Awesome. Excellent.
Yeah.
So people who are going to QuiltCon will have an exciting time getting to. We
got to get her to make a sticker.
I was just about to say that. We have.
Oh my god! They can't handle an Alicia sticker. It should the Alicia sticker should just be me riding the Ever So Sparrow 20 with the F and then a bunch of characters, so it says looks like I'm saying a bad word, because that would be me. That's the equivalent of me.
I think we can make that happen. I think we can.
I really feel like
a cartoon Alicia on a sewing machine that has a beak and wings.
Yeah.
I think we have a mission after this.
I think we do too.
So.
I think we do too.
I feel like that would be the best way to announce hey, what do you sew? Nothing, but here's my sticker.
I love it. Alicia, it has been wonderful chatting with you. I'm going to end it here because I have to edit all this. So this is going to take me a hot minute to get through. We were going to do our So Speedy round, but we ran out of time. So that just means we'll have to have you back and actually do the So Speedy round.
I don't know. Here's the thing. If people want me back, they're going to have to tell me, because I'm really going out on a limb here.
She is.
And this is so outside of my comfort zone.
100%.
I've never been out there like this. So if people want me back, they're going to have to tell you on your page and Becca on her page, because if not, I'll just assume everyone thought I was what is wrong with her? Something's not right. She must be, are you sure that's your sister? Are you sure? So I think that they have to let me know, because
you'll have to let us know in the comments. If you're over on YouTube, let us know in the comments down below if you want to see Alicia back on the podcast again.
And we will, if you want her, we can record it in person, potentially, or virtually. We've got the tools. But let us know what you would want her to talk about. Help us direct the conversation.
Yeah. Let us know.
Stop it. You're gonna make me blush.
Well, Alicia, thank you so much for joining us today. And I have the feeling you will be back again. And if not, people will see you at QuiltCon.
Yeah.
But I think that's it.
Well, you know what?
What?
Your line is,
well, this wasn't perfect,
but it's finished. Look at the block I made.
Oh, look at you. Oh, it's sideways. There you go.
Is that a sheriff star?
I mean, it's a 6-point star. It was all hand sewn.
Yeah. The quilt police, they're finally coming for you from the other night on live.
Oh my gosh.
And on that
all right, well, I have to go. I have to go quilt my quilt. So my tea towel business.
Okay.
To let everybody know in on the secret, it's really funny because anytime we talk to Alicia, somebody just hangs up. They're in the middle of the sentence and suddenly they hang up. So
and she never lets you say goodbye. She always has to be like, I gotta go. Yep. Click.
I gotta go do something, especially if I know.
Don't do it. Don't do it for real though. We've got to wait for this to upload. So don't just disappear. No.